guys? So today for this video I wanted to talk about traveling with your pet internationally, whether you're gonna move or you feel like traveling the world with your dog, or it's just gonna be like a prolonged trip. I wanted to go over all of the equipment and pet travel gear that I personally use when I'm traveling around. So I've been kind of full-time with my dogs. I got only one now, but I started with two since 2020. And so we have traveled from the United States to Peru. We were in Peru for 6 months, then Peru to Argentina. We were in Argentina for about 3 years. That's where I had an older dog, and she passed away in Argentina. And then from Argentina to Italy, and then Italy to Albania. So we've been all over the place, and there's some really specifics you need to know about, and sometimes it can be difficult to figure out some of this information, especially if you're doing everything yourself. Now, there are pet transit services, but those are really expensive. Like, they're going to cost 4 to 5 times what you would if you did it yourself. And once you do it once, you'll never need a pet transit service again. I can understand wanting to use one your first time around. I mean, I did. That was during COVID, and I really had no other option. But they'll be able to fill you in on some of this stuff. But if you want to handle everything yourself, or at least get your equipment set up before you contact them, that's what we're gonna go over here. Now, first, most importantly, your pet kennel. That's what you're gonna. That's the biggest investment. That's the most crucial piece of the transit process. Me specifically, I use the PetMate Vari Kennel Ultra. It's designed kind of for larger dogs, and I'll include links to all this stuff down below. I will also include links to a smaller version, so if you have a smaller pet, you can go with that. But it's really, the kennel is really specific. Now, you're going to look on the different airline websites, and they're going to give you all these different measurement information. It's going to like make your head spin. I have never once had an airline break out the measuring tape and try to figure things out. There's an easier way to do that. Your dog just needs to be able to fit comfortably in the kennel. Needs to be able to sit, stand, and turn around easily. If they sit and they have to kind of like duck their heads, no good. Now, there's certain ones where they're going to say if their ears touch the top, if you have a dog with cropped ears like a Doberman, you're probably going to need a bigger kennel anyways. But just as long as your dog can kind of like freely move around and without bumping into the kennel, that'll be size. And always err on the size of something larger. Like if you have one and you're like, I don't know, go with something bigger. It's better to be safe than sorry. So this particular kennel is 2 large kind of industrial pieces of plastic, and they come together in like a lip that goes around it, and there's screw fasteners that go all the way around. And now when you're picking out a kennel, especially for larger dogs, you want the 2 side windows, you want those to be metal. So there's like the front door, that's going to be metal. Then you have the 2 sides, you want those to be metal, and then the back one, that's like the only one that can be plastic. If you have a small dog like a Pomeranian or something like that, different story. But you want the sides to be metal. That will improve the structural integrity of the kennel. If it's just like plastic cutouts all the way around, that reduces the structural integrity, and there's going to be a lot of airlines that are going to have some problems with it, and they're not going to let you fly. That's the last thing you want, to have someone be like, nope, no good. So that's why I like this one. It's metal, the metal windows, metal front, and then the plastic in the rear. And I like this particular design with the 2 plastic like clamshells coming together, because there are metal options where it's pretty much just metal bars all the way around. You can opt for that. I don't particularly like that, because one thing you're going to find out when you're at an airport with a dog, every single person on the planet is going to want to like poke their head and like look at the dog. And that's the thing. Your dog a lot of dogs are going to be stressed out during this situation, and having strangers popping their heads in to look at the dog is only going to make it worse. And so having the thick plastic all the way around will at least make it possible for your dog to kind of like sit and lay down and have their back to the front door. They can hide easily and not have to look at anybody. If it's the metal bars, they don't have that option, and it can be much more stressful. I've had dogs where they kind of like the coziness of it, and so that's another reason why I highly recommend this one. Also, you don't want a kennel with wheels. Some airlines will make you take the wheels off completely. Others will make you have like a serious locking mechanism in place, but most of the time it's just like no wheels. You have to take them off, and this one doesn't have wheels, so you don't have to deal with that. Now, there's one issue with this kennel, or with every kennel that you're going to get, is the fasteners that secure the two clamshell parts together. Those are plastic. Those are no good. The airline will not let you do plastic. I've never actually had anybody inspect for plastic, at least that I could tell. I've always had metal fasteners, so never been an issue. But you need to replace the plastic. Metal screws are more secure. They're not going to break. And I have a link to the exact metal screws that I purchased to replace the plastic ones. The bag, it's like a set of 12, and so you just kind of take the old plastic ones out and you reinsert the metal ones. And yeah, I have an extra bag just in case, but I've never had to use it. So yeah. Next, I have the Pet Crate Carrier Cup. This is just like a food and water dish that clamps onto the front door. It doesn't take up any ground space, which is good, so the dog's not kind of bumping into it. It's generally small, and you're probably not going to ever use it. Now, usually when you do an international flight, they will have you like secure a water bottle, like a clear Dasani or whatever water bottle on top. And if there is a layover, I'd recommend trying to avoid any kind of layovers if possible. Fly direct if you absolutely can. But maybe you're not able to pick up the dogs right away. Generally speaking, there will be somebody in like the cargo area that will put water into your dog's dish. Now, they're not going to open it. They'll just kind of pour it in from the outside. And so this dish is perfect for that you can pour it in. I have seen water dishes or things that are kind of like the hamsters. It's got like the clear thing with the metal tube and like the ball, and they kind of look at that. I've never used that. I don't have any experience with that. Some places don't really like you having like crazy attachments on the exterior of it. And honestly, it's probably best that your dog's not drinking a lot of water while they're on this thing. It's so they don't have any accidents. I mean, you can give them all the water, when you land. So I've never used that. I've always used the dish that clamps on, and it's super cheap, super easy to use, and kind of like when you land, and maybe you don't have time to go and get like some replacement dog food bowls. You can just use that in a pinch until you're able to replace it. But super easy, super convenient. It just snaps right in, and you're good to go. I already talked about the dry fur pet carrier metal fasteners, the little screws. Next, also by Dry Fur, it's live animal labels. Now these are just stickers that you're going to put on the side of your kennel that says live animal. That says live animal, and there's up arrows. I like to put one on each side, and then I put like the arrow sticker on the corners. Just kind of pointing up for keep it up this way. This is up. Pretty self-explanatory. I would recommend getting some packing tape, and so you put the regular sticker down, and then you put the packing tape over the sticker. Just kind of adds a little extra security when you're going through different humidity. Maybe there's some moisture somewhere. Hot. You don't have to worry about the interior of the cargo with the luggage. That's all temperature controlled, so that's not an issue. It's really mostly when you're on the carrier's on the ground waiting to get loaded up. Sometimes the stickers can start to peel a little bit, so that extra packing tape just secures it. You're good to go with that. I have not lost a sticker in 4 years, and we've done multiple flights all over the place. So that is what I recommend doing. Now, for the dog bed, I highly recommend having something on the bottom, because you really want your dog to be laying on the plastic hard surface for that long. I mean, that's not great for the hips, especially if it's an older dog. I recommend the BarkBox orthopedic dog bed. This is memory foam, so I feel like that has a little more cushion. You can get ones that are like the eggshell. I'm not a huge fan of that. This memory foam, it's easier to for them to shift around on without like kicking up the mattress and getting it all kind of wadded up. Now, this one that I'm recommending is 3 inches thick. Keep that in mind if you have a dog that's taller and the top of the head is getting real close to the top of the kennel, because if it's too close, go for something that's like 1 inch thick. It's not the greatest, but it's better than nothing. And I also recommend, if you don't do this one, get one that has like a rubber kind of grip on the bottom of it, so then the dog bed doesn't get kicked up, because your dog's gonna be moving around a little bit. They're gonna be kind of bobbing and weaving, and it's better just the grip's gonna prevent that from getting flipped up. And yeah, like this one's 3 inches. Sometimes you can try to go to like Home Goods. On occasion, they will have like a 1 inch option that you can put down. I've seen those before, and those are good, especially if you're kind of on if your dog's gonna fit. You can check it out, but if not, this is a really good option, and it's about as comfortable as your dog can get. And since it's memory foam and not stuffing, if they get nervous, start chewing at it, it's not gonna be like stuffing everywhere, which is good. Now, you will need to get a doggy pee pad to put over the dog bed. So, if there's an accident, there's something that can absorb the liquid. They might poke their head, the people at the airport might poke their head in to look. Really, once your dog's able to fit in the kennel, and as long as the kennel passes security, they're not too worried about what's inside, but just in case. That over. And this particular BarkBox is washable, so if there's an accident or something happens, you can wash it and you still reuse it. And when you move, you have a dog bed all ready to go, so you don't have to, you're not in a pinch to buy something more. You already have something that your dog's comfortable with. This thing is kind of for peace of mind. I do want to tell you that the dog kennel is pretty much the least likely object to get lost anywhere. Regular luggage, just gonna scan the barcode, put it on wherever, and boom. The dog kennel, that's gonna be double checked, triple checked, everything. Like, everyone wants to make sure the dog arrives where it's supposed to, because that's a big problem for them if your dog goes to the wrong airport. So, like, luggage, there's usually some workarounds, but not dogs. So that is going to be triple checked. The dog's not going to it's not going to be sent to the wrong airport. Now, sometimes it could be tricky to know where to go in the airport to pick up your dog. Like, for example, I was flying from Buenos Aires to Rome. I asked the people in Buenos Aires, does the dog come out with the luggage? Because a lot of times the dog that's in checked bags will come out on the conveyor belt with luggage. And they're like, yeah, the dog will come out with luggage. Incorrect. Came out on a completely different side of the airport. So I'm waiting by luggage, like, where the hell's my dog? I'm kind of freaking out. So to kind of know where your dog is, you can get, if you're like a Samsung Android, you can use a Tile Pro. Or if you have an iPhone, you can use an AirTag. Now, you can't really secure it onto the kennel, because the kennel will be separately X-rayed, and they'll probably tell you to take it off. Instead, you can take the tag and put it on your dog's collar. Now, your dog's not going to ride with the collar while in transit, but you will like wrap your collar and leash up and secure it to the side, to the metal window that we talked about earlier. You will secure it to the side with a zip tie, and so you can have the AirTag or whatever on the collar on the side of the kennel. So when you arrive, you know where to go pick up the dog. Like, okay, maybe they're being dropped off in a different area of the airport. At least then you know where to go. And it's just more peace of mind than anything else. And then you can rest assured that, okay, the dog has been checked onto the airplane. Even though you should tell the staff on the plane when you board, hey, I got a dog that's riding in luggage. Can you tell me when it's loaded? They should tell you. Now, so I have had a couple of times where the airline, they did not tell me, and we took off and just like, thank you. So this gives you peace of mind of that. Now, once you check your dog in, you check your dog in, and they're either going to make you take the kennel behind the check-in desk and run through an x-ray there, or they're going to make you go to like oversized luggage. Depends on the airport. And they'll run it through the big jumbo x-ray. And then once that's done, you'll put the dog back in, and you'll secure it. And now you need to secure the front door. Depending on the airline, it's all over the place, and I have yet to be told this ahead of time. You are either going to need zip ties or luggage locks. Now, on this particular kennel that I showed you, there are little like holes punched right above and below each corner of the door. If you allow zip ties, you just kind of feed the zip tie through the door, then through the hole in the plastic, and kind of secure it, and you do all four, good to go. On occasion, the airline staff will have you use locks. And so you need to have locks on hand. Now, I recommend just the luggage locks because it's just like, you got your regular lock, and it has like the little wire kind of loop that comes out on top. The wire loop is thin enough to feed through the hole punch and secure it. And don't worry, if something happens, the airline staff can get those off really fast. And so you will want 4. Again, I got links to all this stuff and the ones I use. I'd say 90% of the time, maybe 75% of the time, you can use zip ties. But you kind of need both on hand. I usually travel with kind of like a bag of zip ties. I keep them with my checked bag, so I'm not going through the airport security with a bag of zip ties. That probably wouldn't work. Because you're going to need 4 for the door. I like to secure the leash, kind of wrap it up and secure it with one, and then secure it again onto the side window with another. So minimum 6. But I just get like a little baggie and go with you. But again, you need the luggage locks as well. Now this last one is kind of, you don't need it, but I recommend something like this. You know your dog best. You know what kind of anxiety they deal with. And like, I'd say like, what is their reaction to fireworks? Do they just kind of hide and that's it? Or do they kind of like, do they start to like hyperventilate and get like really spazzy? If your dog is really sensitive to fireworks and loud noises, you're going to want to talk to your vet and try to get some anti-anxiety medication. That's the best option. Make sure you let them know this is what it's for, this is how they react to loud noises, because really the loudest time is them being loaded onto the plane. That's when it's going to be loudest, and so you really want to have that anti-anxiety medicine. Now, if they're a little more chill, but still it's good to give them something to kind of just mellow it out a little bit. I use a hemp oil, a CBD oil. There's no THC. Of course, my dog, the one I have left now, she's 10, and she has only one hind leg. And so her hips she can deal with some hip pains. And so I like using CBD oil anyways. The CBD oil just kind of helps minimize the pain, kind of helps improve for mobility. So I use that anyways, but it's also good for kind of just a little bit of de-stress before the flight. Now, I first received this in Buenos Aires, and the vets there were all about the CBD, all about it. And what they recommended to me for the travel aspect is, you're going to want to start this a couple weeks ahead of time, but you'll give the dog 1 drop of the CBD liquid, like under the tongue, see how they react, and the next day you do 2, and the next day you increase by 1 drop every day until they reach a point where they're just like, they're chill, where you notice like an activity level decrease, and they just kind of want to like chill or whatever. That's when you figure that out, that's the level of the number of drops you want to give when you're at the airport. Now, because it's CBD and no THC, you're fine with it at the airport. I'd still put it in your check bags. But right before you drop your dog off, or before you approach the desk, give your dog the drops, and then pack the bags, whatever. So again, I have a link below. This is really helpful, even if you just have dog with some arthritis issues or whatever, and you don't like giving them drugs, whatever. This stuff that I'm recommending below is CBD, and it's mixed with fish oil, which is also good for the joints and cartilage on your dog. So that's good also. That's what we use personally. But and again, this is all stuff I personally use, and I've used multiple times all over the globe, and it's worked out very well. And I just wanted to make a video and talk about all the different things. These are affiliate links, so I want to let you know that I don't want to pull anything over, but I'm not recommending stuff that I haven't used before. I'm not like that. Especially with pet stuff, because pet stuff is really specific, and it's really important to get good stuff. And so these are all things that I personally use whenever we travel, and I've used them many times. And so if you're preparing to leave with your dog, if you just want to get a few things for some trips, or you're going to be moving, consider some of the stuff. And if you have any other questions, let me know in the comments. And so for now, take it easy, guys. See ya.